Ladies and gentlemen, wow, what a privilege to speak to you people that work with others in the world where we just have the dilemma that the world become fatherless all over the world. In Africa, South Africa, but all the countries. Now, he gave me this topic and I can speak for hours about it. And I thought, how will I do that? But by the way, first I heard yesterday a very interesting thing about one of my friends told the story, because you know our children and our grandchildren keep us humble. Who of you have already grandchildren? Okay, you know what I'm talking about. Eh? Okay, so my friend told me he's an engineer. And he told me how every Thursday he takes his grandchildren to the several places where they have to go and play rugby or soccer or whatever, so that the mothers can have a day off. Now, being an engineer, he wanted to teach his children also maths, you know. In South Africa, our maths are not that good, you know. I presume you all have in other countries the same dilemma. But in any case, so he said, but it was the little one's birthday, and said, how old are you today? He said, 6 years. Beautiful, my child, beautiful. And within another 6 years, how old will you be then? 12 years. Okay, that's fantastic. Now tell Grandpa, now a very difficult question. Grandpa is 76. How old do you think will I be within 6 years? Dead. She decided, no, she doesn't have enough hands to do that calculations. So, ladies and gentlemen, our children, our grandchildren, keep us humble. Okay, so I want to talk about, and sorry, I haven't started yet. It's not part of my 35. It's not just the intro. Because 35 months, he's stupid man, but he's much younger than I. So he must listen to me. It's like nice to be an old man. You can say whatever you like. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I thought a lot about what I will tell you about emotional intelligence, because for many of you, emotional intelligence is a quite new sort of concept, although it's an old thing. And I decided, I just read something, and by the way, I bought a book for you. That's my contribution to your wonderful time, The Heart of the Winner.
Let me interject. This book, brilliant book that he wrote, it's free for you. And this is a gift from him. I did not expect this, so this is fantastic. You will eat this, read this, eat this, and use this, because many practical ideas in this book on how to take emotional intelligence into your home.
Okay. I thought, therefore, I want to talk about you today, ladies and gentlemen, because the last part of the book is all what you can do with your children. As I said, small exercises, etc., etc. But I would rather today talk a lot about you. Because, you know, ladies and gentlemen, two things that the Bible said many years ago, that the psychologists, the neuroscience, only started to realize now. And that is that God said, if you want to change your life, you must change your thoughts. And I want to show you today that how you as a father, whether you see yourself as a servant, father, whatever that is, but how important it is that we also have to love ourselves. Because, you know, time is so good for other people, but you don't look at yourself. So that's why I'm going to put the emphasis today on that part. That how, if you work on yourself, how you can spread this incredible message through the world, but also now small families, ladies and gentlemen. So that's more or less the emphasis I'm going to talk about today. So I just quickly want to share with you just for 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I want to share with you a little bit what emotional intelligence is all about. You all would have heard this, that our IQ, all our diplomas and our degrees and that stuff, only determines that little bit of our success. 6 to 15% of our success. 85% of your success is determined by your emotional intelligence. Now, I know immediately you're going to ask, what is emotional intelligence if you don't know the concept that well? By the way, the concept was only coined in the year 1990, for you that want to have a little bit of theoretical stuff. 1990 by two American psychologists, Jack Meyer and Peter Salovey. Ladies and gentlemen, just quickly, last week I just asked a group of people, write down what, if you look at a good leader, what would you say, what are the characteristics of that leader? And they came up with that list, and I put it that. But you see, there is nothing about degrees, diplomas. It is all about kindness, love your neighbor, all that things. Now, ladies and gentlemen, emotional intelligence is actually what is on that list. But it boils to us, we can call it what the spirit of the fruit, because that is actually what emotional intelligence is all about. So briefly, just a theoretical stuff. There's a lot in the book, so I don't want to waste time on that. So let me just say quickly. Emotional intelligence refers to 5 aspects of intelligence. The first is the personal aspect. In other words, your mindset, how you feel about yourself. And I want to emphasize that a little bit. Let me tell you why it's so important. Why is your mindset, and why is the Bible so puts such an incredible emphasis on your thoughts? I met a lady that was diagnosed with Parkinson's. You know Parkinson's, eh? She was later so bad, late 80s. She was later so bad, she was bedridden. Husband had to take her to the toilet, to the bathroom. But he died in 1994. And for the children, it was a major dilemma. What will they do with the mother? And they asked nuns to look after her. But, you know, her son studied medicine. And he said to her here in around about 98, 99, he said, you know, mother, what bothers me? The majority of your symptoms are the symptoms of Parkinson's. But there are 1 or 2 things that don't look like Parkinson's. Let's go to neurologist again. They took her to neurologist. The neurologist examined her and said, who told you you have Parkinson's? You only have a spastic colon. This lady lived for almost 10 years with Parkinson's in her mind. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the reason why I want to tell you that many of us are not successful. Because society told us we're not good enough, and we live with Parkinson's in our mind. And I really, really think why God said you must love your neighbor as you love yourself. It starts also, not that you must become, oh, I'm great. That's not what I'm saying. There's still humble, there's still humility. But yeah, you can't love anyone else before you love yourself. And that's why the emphasis I want to put today. And that's why I'm going to really just talk a little bit about that aspect. And the rest you can read in the book. It also, emotional intelligence also refers to the emotional aspect, how to handle your emotions. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, from small, we have to teach our children, and especially our boys, how to handle their emotions. Because we were brought up only sissies that cry. It's nonsense. That's why guys die so early, not because our bodies are not good enough, because we suppress our feelings, but we have to also to be taught how to manage our control our emotions in an emotional intelligent way. So that refers to those things. It also, the third aspect of emotional intelligence, and sorry you can't see that well, has to do with the social aspect, more the leadership stuff. Your communication, all that stuff, ladies and gentlemen. It also refers to the innovative part of emotional intelligence. And then the fifth aspect of emotional intelligence is the survival skills. How to handle your stress, how to be happy. And these are the 5 aspects of emotional intelligence. And as I don't want to waste time on theory. It's in there, but just for you that don't know anything about the topic, more or less that is what it's all about. So quickly, IQ tests determine only your success at school. That little bit in the job. And I have bad news for you. Your IQ's peaked. If around about 25, your IQ's peaked. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, do you also know that the brain is only fully developed by 25? Huh? So at times we expect our children to be small adults. The brain is not ready for that. And therefore it's so important, ladies and gentlemen, that you have to go back. And when you talk with fathers and parents, whoever, that they also have to understand a little bit about the brain. Because the brain lies in the hands of parents, and we must know how to treat that. We don't have time for that today, but it's so important that you must also get this message across in your work with parents. And then, ladies and gentlemen, culture-bound, what I mean with that, or what is meant by that rather, is that some cultures have lower IQs, but not because they're more stupid. is just because they were not exposed to the typical IQ questions. Remember, IQ questions are right through the world the same. Say, for example, a child who grew up in an orphanage. If you ask him, there's an IQ question, where is milk coming from? He will say, out of a bottle. Of course, then his IQ will be low. So it's not that some cultures have lower IQs or that they're more stupid. They were just not exposed to all the questions. And then, ladies and gentlemen, emotion IQ can't be developed. Emotional intelligence, no culture difference, no gender difference. The ladies think they're better than we guys. They're a little bit better with those things, but we're better with those things. And it can be developed, but it takes time. You don't have to remember that, ladies and gentlemen, why it takes time. It has to do with the retuning of the circuits around the amygdala. And now I said enough theoretical stuff. Let's start with what I want to do today. I want today, ladies and gentlemen, talk a little about you. Become the change you want to see in the lives of other people. And I want to briefly talk about that. What you can do, practical things. Go back and become an inspiration for other fathers. Say, I'm a kind child of God, but I look after myself because that has an impact on myself, it has an impact on other people. So that's what I wanted to do today. Now I brought my magic book with me. At the moment, you're all fairly open-minded. You say to yourself, what can this old guy tell us in any case? All I'm going to have quickly time for is to give you quickie guidelines. Tarago lines, please. I can only give you quick guidelines. Your job is when you go home tonight or fly back, you must read the book and you must put the color in it. Tarago, color, please. That's your job. Yeah. Can you see I can do magic? Yeah. Okay, let's start. Now my 35-minute start. No, lie. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most wonderful... Yeah, let me first say that. I told you that the Bible already said, your thoughts can change your life. And this is a message you must bring across to parents, to fathers. But you must also know that for your own life, that if you change your thoughts, your whole life's going to change. Many years ago, 1979, I was part of a research project in the States where a lady took away a number of old men between the ages of 70 and 97. No one was in a wheelchair, no one had Alzheimer's. But at 97, you're frail. Now, what did this lady do? For 10 days, remember, it's 79. I started to do lecture at the university just before the year before that. So what the lady did, she programmed the minds of the people. The way she did it, by the way, when they were all arrived there were cognitive tests, psychological tests and stuff like that, but also physical tests, dexterity, length of the fingers, etc., etc. For 10 days, she just said, you are now living in the year 1959. You're now living in the year 1959. Remember that this research was done in 59 or 79, but it's now 20 years before, so 20 years younger. So for 10 days, she just, you live now in the year 1959. And the way she achieved that, they were forced to each other to talk about the president of that time. They were forced to talk about the job they occupied, the music, Pat Boone and Elvis Presley and Nat King Cole. So just for 10 days, you live in the year 1959. You know what happened after 10 days? The guys started to walk up straight. Remember, the older you get, the more you walk like that. The guy with the least facial improvements, in other words, less wrinkles, was almost a 3-year improvement. So ladies, you don't have to put on this cascara, what do you call this stuff? Mascara. You don't have to put on this oil of delay on your faces, eh? Change your mind. You know, the guy with the least muscle improvement was almost a 2-year muscle improvement. Ladies and gentlemen, you might know that when men are getting older, their fingers are getting shorter. It's not the only thing that's getting shorter. The toes as well. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, the fingers started to grow. Not that long, like Pinocchio, but just a little bit. That was said by the Bible years ago. If you want to change your life, change your thoughts. Only in this century, the neuroscience started to realize that if we can teach people to change the thoughts, the life's going to change, despite the fact that the Bible said it long, long ago. So, ladies and gentlemen, when I talk a little bit, keep that in the back of your mind. And that principle in the psychology world is called, and in neuroscience, is called neuroplasticity, which means that every thought that goes through your mind in a focused way changes the wiring of your brain. The Bible said it long ago. So remember that. Keep that in the back of your mind, how you can use that as a father or as a mother in your own life, and how you can teach other people this incredible principle. For example, if you say to yourself every day, I'm tired, life is just too difficult, you are actually growing, life is difficult brain cells. Do you realize that? And that your brain, your body reacts to that immediately. You'll see that. Mind and the body are inseparable. Every thought that goes through your mind changes as an impact on your body. That's, I think, why the Lord, if you go and read Philippians 4, verse 8, why he put this emphasis, change your thoughts. In psychological terms, we say, become positive, become happy again. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, we in South Africa, if you talk about happiness, if you read John 10, verse 10, the God said we must be happy, we must have a life, abundant life. But South Africa is one of the unhappiest countries in the world. But the majority of us call us Christians. And what is the case in your country? You know, we have a number of Christian fathers that are so unhappy, and then they want to ignite the fire in other people. You can't ignite the fire in anyone else before you have the fire in yourself. Fire to God, but fire about the love of God, because then you can start spreading it, ladies and gentlemen. So that's so important, the neuroplasticity. So forget about now the fathers that you're going to work. I want to talk about you today. So think about one thing that you can say to yourself every day over a few weeks, and I promise you, you will rewire your brain. I say, for example, every day to myself, I'm a happy person, and only good things going to happen with me. Take my first challenge. Think about one thing you're going to say to yourself every day that you're going to change the rewiring. Your body will react to that. So remember that, ladies and gentlemen. What is the challenge for you that working with fathers? Daily, 60,000 thoughts go through every person's mind per day. By the way, help me out, you guys. In the Bible, Proverbs 27, verse 19, I think, you are what you think of, huh? You know? Can you see? You are what you think of. I think it's Proverbs 7. In your mind, there are around about 60,000 thoughts going through your mind every day. What is the challenge of you fathers, grandfathers, and the fathers that we work with, is that 70% of those thoughts are negative. So, ladies and gentlemen, can you just imagine what's happening? We sit with fatherless families, but we sit also with incompetent fathers because they don't look after themselves. And that is one of the things, that's why I said, God said you must love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's the starting point. That doesn't mean that sort of thing. That means that humble thing of, wow, everything I have, I receive at the hand of the Lord. But we don't have enough of that. Look at how wonderfully God created me. Ladies and gentlemen, so 70% of your thoughts are negative. What is the dilemma of that? You teach other people, but your negativity, if you haven't changed that, has an impact on yourself. And you have an impact on the people around you. That's a message for us, but that's a message you have to convey to the fathers that you work with. They affect their children. The ones that are still there, they affect them. And us in South Africa, we have the challenge that so many fathers are not at home because they work in cities or wherever. And then when they come once a month or every 6 months at home, then they're negative. And then they do more harm than they really do anything good. So, okay. Now, I didn't look at the time, but I hope that I still have at least 20 minutes. Is that right? Ladies and gentlemen, one of the remarkable things that we know for many, many years is that between your ears, you have 100 billion neurons. That we knew. But what we didn't know is that each of those neurons had the same potential as one top computer. Do you understand when God said we really created to his image, what God actually said? All of you that are sitting here have between your ears 100 billion laptops. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that incredible that God created us such a wonderful way and we don't realize that and we misuse it at times? Okay, now if you are then so clever with your 100 billion laptops, can I ask all of you a question? Who of you didn't get 97% for maths? The last exam that you wrote maths at school, who of you didn't get 97%? Raise your hands, I want to see that. Ach no, ladies and gentlemen. How can you have 100 billion laptops and you couldn't do maths? No. Where is it coming from? Can you still remember what your mother said when you went to standard 8, or grade 8, or grade 10, or whatever you call it in your country? Your mother said, my child, I'm telling you now, you're going to high school. It's now things like algebra, things like A plus B equals A or B, or AB, I can't remember that well anymore. But mother tell you, we Carstenses, we don't have brains for maths. Your grandfather failed it. Your father failed it. Mommy also failed it. And I'm telling you, if you're not going to work hard, you're going to fail it. And what happens when you get in grade 8? You fail or you do badly. Ladies and gentlemen, an incredible, important concept in your own lives, but to convey that to the people that you work with. That is what we call in the psychology world the self-fulfilling prophecy, which means other people had a major impact on the way you see yourself. Created by God to be winners, programmed, the psychologists use the word conditioned to become losers. Can you see, ladies and gentlemen? God created you with this incredible potential. And therefore, that's the message you have to get across to your parents that you work with, the fathers, that child of yours have 100 billion laptops, but you have an impact on that child. But we're not talking about that. You must see how you can use it. I want to talk about you. So what is the impact on you, ladies and gentlemen? Let me just give you one example, which you can use when you work with fathers, about the self-fulfilling prophecy. Many years ago, they did a very interesting research project in England. That is, can't tell how seldom you get that someone has so kind to put water. Thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, and you know, at my old age, I talk with the spit, so I need a lot of water, you see. I spit all over the place. Would you bring a few umbrellas for the people here in the front? Ladies and gentlemen, in England, they did this very interesting research project. They took a number of foremen, and they said to the foreman, listen, we assessed all the new apprentices. And some of them are excellent. You'll see they all are wearing blue badges on the overalls. Some bad. They are wearing yellow badges. But it was a lie. They were all students on holiday work. And the students didn't know why some of them got blue badges and some yellow badges, but what the food was not too bad and the money was okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know that those guys with the blue badges, they treated them, ooh, you're great. And what happened with them? They flourished. The guys with yellow badges, you're not good. And they stayed there. In your own life. But remember that to convey this message to fathers. If you treat your child as if that child is a yellow badge person, that child becomes a yellow badge person. You ladies, you don't have to say a word to him. You can just, your non-verbal communication. Can you see what an incredible impact we as fathers have? But ladies and gentlemen, many of you are, I presume, of course, you're leaders in your community. Can you see what you can do when you convey just another attitude to people? If you take someone that you think that guy is mediocre, but you start treating that guy as if he's blue, do you realize that guy becomes blue? And isn't that why God put us in leadership positions, ladies and gentlemen, like you? Because as soon as you have people that are reporting to you or that you are listening to you, you are actually a leader. And therefore it's so important that we have to get this message across as well to parents. But okay, we talk about us today. So other people had a major impact on the way you see yourself, ladies and gentlemen. As I just showed, let me just briefly share with you, where is this 70% of negativity coming from? It has to do with the amygdala and those things, but I'm not going to share with you those technical things. I would rather share this with you, which you can actually go and share with fathers. If I could, and that's what the Bible says, mind creates reality. Now, you that didn't study psychology, just a little bit of psychology. Mind consists of this thing that looks like an iceberg. The smaller part is the conscious, and the conscious can differentiate, distinguish between right, wrong, true, false. Subconscious can't. The subconscious is like the memory of a computer. What you put in there stays there. With this difference with the computer, it can't be deleted. It can only be reprogrammed, rewired. Ladies and gentlemen, what is in that subconscious, and that's a part of your brain, the amygdala, what is in your subconscious determines your success, your health, even how long you're going to live, your relationship. Can you see how important is that? What happened with the child, and this is the message you have to convey to fathers. What happened with the child determines all these things, success, relationships, how long he's going to live, health, etc. So, ladies and gentlemen, just briefly, but this is the important point you have to get across. It's all over the world, more or less the same. Where is the 70% of negativity coming from? They found that for every one positive thing fathers say, they almost say 18 negative things. Teachers, one positive thing, 12 negative things. So children were exposed daily to 432 negative statements. Can you see, ladies and gentlemen, created by God to be winners, programmed, conditioned to become sort of losers. So, let me just give you 1 or 2, 3 examples of this negativity. Let me ask you, if you say to a 4-year-old child, don't climb in a tree, what's happening next? Yes, he gets into the tree. And what does the mother say to the child? You're naughty. What is that? Ornaments, my child, ornaments. You don't listen. You're just like your father's family. You don't listen. You don't listen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are 2 negative things there forever. That's going to affect the child's health, strength, all that stuff. Now, I can understand if you become angry when the 4-year-old child is not listening, but can I make assumption you're all adults? I don't take cognizance of anyone under 60, but I'll be nice with you. I call you all adults this morning. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you're not 4-year-olds, so all of you, please listen to me. Please don't think about the elephant. Please, why are you laughing? Because the majority of you saw them. Ladies and gentlemen, have you realized that the brain doesn't register the word don't? When I said, don't think about the elephant, what did you hear? Yeah. When you say to a 4-year-old child, don't climb in the tree, what's he hearing? Can you see how often we use this word? Let's take another example. I don't want to give you many examples. Because this negativity, you know that we all heard it, where your father said to you, don't do that, you're not as good as your brother. Put down that hi-fi, you have 2 bananas in your ears. Can you see? Just negative things, negative things. But let me just give you one example. What is your name? Dennis. That's easy, I'll remember that. Let's say Dennis is now 4 years old. Mother has got a new baby. Now mother and a 4-year-old Dennis and a baby in a pram go to a shop. Now, a friend comes by and says hello to the mother and to Dennis. Hello, Dennis. But to the baby, oh, isn't she beautiful? It's a lie, ladies and gentlemen. No baby is beautiful. They're ugly. They're only beautiful to the grandma and to the mother. They're ugly. I worked in Riga in Latvia 3 years ago, and my brother-in-law's first grandchild was born. And he sent me a WhatsApp with a picture of this new baby. Said, look at my beautiful princess. Ugly child, ugly child. I sent him a WhatsApp back. I said, oh yes, she's healthy, she's healthy. But my grandchild is born 3 years ago, but that was a beautiful child, that one. No lie, was also ugly. Ladies and gentlemen, just look at this. To Dennis was just say, hello Dennis, but the baby, isn't you beautiful? Can you see the assumption Dennis is going to make, I'm not beautiful. Can you see, ladies and gentlemen, how careful we as parents must be or what we convey to our children? And I don't want to waste our time because we don't have that time. So, ladies and gentlemen, you get the principle that other people had a major impact on you. And I also brought that in when we had time, but we don't have time, I'm still going to say it. I just want to joke with the mothers. My mom taught me about anticipation. Just wait until your father gets home. My mother taught me about logic. If you follow that swing and you break your neck, you will not go to the shop with me. My mother taught me about humor. When that lawnmower cuts off your toes, do not come running to me. My mother taught me about genetics. You're just like your father. My mother taught me about justice. One day you have kids, and I hope they turn out just like you, then you'll see what's like. My mother taught me about religion. You had better pray that a stain comes off the carpet. She taught me force, I think this one we all heard. Make sure you wear clean underwear in case you're involved in an accident. I had a tough end of the year last year. I worked at Rustenburg, a leadership course, and the next day I had to fly to Dubai. I had to speak at Dubai, the conference, and I had also the Emotional Intelligence Conference, and I had to do lecture at universities there, and then I had to fly to Mumbai, where I spoke at the conference, and then Delhi, where I presented something, and then from there I went to Malaysia. I work with the universities in Malaysia on emotional intelligence, the academical staff, and from there to Thailand. So my wife had to pack my clothes. So when I came back, I didn't check shirts. I just checked my underpants. Do I have enough for the whole time? So I'm still listening to make sure I have enough underpants. I think this next one we all heard as well. You sit here until all that spinach is finished, or pumpkin, or whatever it's in your country. And I just brought that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that's 2 World Cups ago, and that's a man talks as if he have 3 hours to talk, not 35 minutes. And I'm sure he's going to show me a 5-minute sign just now, and I'm not even half of my talk yet. But in any case, he won't do that. He's nice with me, I hope so. That's how we South Africans saw that. You that don't soccer that well, you know that is the Italian guy. That was Zinedine Zidane. Of course, we call it in South Africa soccer, but you call it football in other countries. The 2 football championships ago. He hit him with the head. You're not allowed to do that in football. So that's how we South Africans saw it. How did they see it in France? The French people say he was not guilty. It was your own fault. Walk into the lamp pole. How did they see it in Italy? In Italy, they say he was very guilty. He was launched. It came like a missile. How did Bush and all Americans see it? Al-Qaeda, shoot him. Al-Qaeda, shoot him. In Hong Kong? So, ladies and gentlemen, you must also remember, if I talk about things, I talk out of a South African's perspective, although I have the privilege to talk right through the world, but you must use these things in your country. So, ladies and gentlemen, 70% of our thoughts are negative. How do we change that? If you feel you are in a trap, ladies and gentlemen, you are not in a trap. Now techniques how to get out of it. So I just have this quickly. If you feel in your trap, you're not in a trap. The old guy going to tell you now how to get out of it. Look in the mouth. Huh? Ladies and gentlemen, it's never the end. When you share with fathers, this, by the way, in South Africa, the average father spends weekly 12.5 minutes per child. I'm not saying sitting in front of the TV or reading news, or, whatever, having lunch, but face-to-face communication. In South Africa, of those 12.5 minutes, 8 minutes are negative. So children in South Africa were exposed to 38 days that they were just negative. It would be interesting to see what your statistics in your country is, ladies and gentlemen, or are. Ladies and gentlemen, now, often fathers, when you hear these things about the negative things, and you must elaborate on that. I can't do that, but there's a lot about that in the book. Of course, we don't have time, because Cassie said I still have 20 minutes, because fortunately he put on his slow watch today, so I still have 20 minutes, and now I have to finish within 20 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, but fathers will come to you and say, but now, I made this mistake, what should I do? Here is the great news, the biblical thing of many years ago, I'm just talking psychology, neuroplasticity. You can rewire a brain, whatever your age is, by just in a focused way saying positive things to yourself. I'll give you now, but let me first give you a background. Many years ago, when I still lectured at Stellenbosch University, a student came to me and said, Pieter, we call in South Africa Pieter, it's an uncle, because I hate titles, doctor, I hate that title thing. So they called to me which means uncle. They say, I want to quit smoking, but you must hypnotize me. I said, no. If you want to quit eating Black Forest cake, I'll hypnotize you, but smoking, other techniques. I said, no, I want to be hypnotized. So I hypnotized him. Sorry, it's a little bit crude, but that's how you work with male students. So I hypnotized him, left the post-hypnotic suggestion, except if you're going to smoke again, you're going to vomit a lot. I brought him up out of hypnotism, gave him a cigarette to smoke. What do you think what happened? Yes, on my desk. Pizza extra large. 4 seasons. But that's not the reason why I tell you a story. He was a minister's, a pastor's child. I think he didn't have 70% negative thoughts, but 90 or even more, because he played with the congregation's children. That's the reason for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I asked him to do the following. In those years, we didn't know anything about neuroplasticity, not at all. We just know that if you knew at that point, if you repeat something, it will happen. Like you learn your multiplication tables, that sort of thing. That's all we know. Now we knew what is the rewiring taking place in your brain. I asked him to drop 5 to 10 positive statements about himself. Not big things that I got a cure for cancer. No, things like, I'm a friendly person. I laugh quite easily. I love people. I have a warm personality. Doesn't matter what it is, ladies and gentlemen. For yourself, for the fathers that you teach, but they should do the same with the kids. I had the privilege to work for some time with our Springbok Sevens team. And there's a big banner in the where they train. And when they walk past that banner, they had to stand still and they had to say these positive things. Ladies and gentlemen, if you say to yourself positive things, I'm a friendly person, I'm caring thing, whatever those things are that you know what you want to say about yourself. And by the way, it's called positive affirmations in the book, which is again Philippians 4 verse 8. But in any case, I challenge you, go back, whenever you go back in your country, drop 5 to 10 positive statements. Say it to yourself every day. Carry on for the rest of your life. You are rewiring your brain. Let me just show you how powerful it is. They took a number of people, and they taught half of them how to play a tune with their fingers on a piano. They had to do it 5 hours a week, for a week. The other people, they just saw how they had to play this thing, and they had to just do it in their mind. So for 5 days, these guys just in their mind played these tunes. You know, the rewiring in the brain with the guys that physically played on the piano and the guys that played in the mind. The rewiring in the brain was exactly the same. Isn't it incredible how God blessed us? How God created us. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can have the most disastrous life in your life, whatever happened with you, doesn't matter what your package is, but if you say these things, you change your mindset completely, your thoughts, and you become this wonderful you that God created you to be. So remember that, please, to do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, and what happened here now? David, okay, we're back. That's why positivity is so important. Ladies and gentlemen, The clever people tell us, and convey this for your fathers, mothers, that for every negative thing you say to yourself, you should say at least 3 positive things. In your marriage, for every negative thing, 5 positives. If you ask your wife, if your wife asks you, what do you think about this dress? Don't answer that question. Run to the toilet immediately. But if you're stupid enough to say, no, it's fine, bad, then you have to say 5 positive things. Ladies and gentlemen, that's true. We don't do that with our wives as well. We that are sitting here. I'm also a culprit. Teams, 5-1. Your children, also 5-1. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to skip that now. Your positivity has an impact on your health, ladies and gentlemen. How can you be a good teacher to other people, good father, if you don't look at your own health? I told you that mind and body are inseparable. Think about a situation where a negative thing happened with you. You dwelled on that the whole day. Did you realize the evening when you get at home, you're tired? As soon as, if you are negative, whether you're angry, frustrated, guilt, whatever that negative feeling is, you secrete a hormone in your body which name is cortisol. And cortisol, ladies and gentlemen, has the impact of the following things. You're constantly tired. So you that are negative, that haven't changed your mind, you will be constantly tired. How can you be a good father if you're tired? Then you don't want to spend time with your children. You must convey the message to other people. But it does more than that. So it's important to teach that to the parent fathers as well, so that they know what's happening with the children if they're stressed. Because the next thing that's happening with the cortisol, the stress hormone, you can't remember. You are 40 years old and you can't remember. You say, oh, I already have Alzheimer's. You don't have Alzheimer's. You're stressed. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, so you can't remember. Can you see the impact on children? You can't focus. You have a bad judgment. It can even do brain damage. It can wipe up the cortisol. It can wipe out the learning center in your brain completely. Ladies and gentlemen, in South Africa, and America is already 87%, in South Africa, 74% of all illnesses are caused by stress. Do you understand why God put the emphasis on Philippians 4, verse 8? My children, I just use psychological terms, start thinking positively, ladies and gentlemen. Can you see? Because they affect your body. There's another very important hormone in your body, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, that's done how you look, huh? Stress. There's another important hormone in your body, which name is the IgA, immunoglobulin A. If you are just negative for 5 minutes, I'm talking about you now, but convey that to the fathers. If you're just negative for 5 minutes, 6 hours, your body doesn't secrete any IgA. Have you noticed that when you went through a very tough time, the next week you get a flu? Can you understand why God put the emphasis, not the emotional intelligence researchers, no. The Bible said we should be positive for that reason as well. Because as soon as you're negative, and therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you that first, I spoke at a conference in Orlando, medical conference. And just before me, an oncologist spoke, I said, negativity causes cancer. It's the wrong way to say it, but it was a professional audience. He should have said, when people are negative, the body doesn't secrete IgA. Now the body is susceptible to cancer. Not all cancers, ladies and gentlemen. You must be very, very, very careful to think that. Many cancers caused by genetics, food, etc., etc. But many of our illnesses are caused by our negativity, ladies. Take cognizance of that. Just look at the next slide. What happened with those people? They all died the next week, huh? Because they were frustrated. Look at how frustrated they are. Bad hormones, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we become so frustrated about things. I know there's only 10 minutes left. I will finish within 10 minutes time, just to keep him calm. Okay, but it will be 10 minutes now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're negative, parents should know that. Fathers should know that. If you're negative, you kill yourself. But there's another reason, ladies, where it is just as important, and why this emphasis on positivity. Oh, let me first just say that. I spoke the whole time about the subconscious, but the subconscious is actually part of that thing which is called the amygdala. Amygdala has several functions. It's there for your breathing and all that stuff. Your subconscious, in other words, your whole emotional memory is there. It also adds emotion, but that I can't talk about that now. But one of the important things, ladies and gentlemen, is your the amygdala decides which hormones should be secreted. And he only knows two hormones. Good hormones, bad hormones. So if you wake up in the morning, you say to yourself, it's one of those days. What is happening? Bad hormones. Can you see, ladies and gentlemen? But if you say, wow, it's a great day, can you see? Good hormones. That's how easy God created us. So that's why you have to start your morning in a positive way, ladies and gentlemen. When you come back in your country or wherever you stay, we must be positive. You must give yourself other people won't give you a pat on the back. You have to do it yourself. So make a photocopy of your hand. Huh? Listen to the old guy. You make a photocopy of your hand. You put it in your room against the wall. And every day before you start your day, you give yourself a pat on the back. Yeah. You have to do that. Huh? Because immediately you have good hormones, good hormones. That's why God put the emphasis, ladies and gentlemen, on change your life. Change your thoughts. Philippians 4 verse 8, go and read. Philippians 2 is important, but Philippians 4 verse 8 is just important. Romans 12:2 as well. I just add a few extra ones to confuse you, that Cassie can tell you again what to do. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so remember that. But there's another reason, ladies and gentlemen, and that's what fathers should know, that your mood and your emotions has an impact on other people, ladies and gentlemen. So important to remember that. I must tell you something funny about South Africa, and that I'm afraid, but I will still finish in 10 minutes time. In one of our hospitals many years ago, late 70s, they had a big dilemma in a specific bed in intensive care unit. A patient always died. They didn't know what caused it. Look at several things. Took them a very long time to realize that the lady that came to polish the floors, she came in with a polisher in an intensive care unit. Then they pulled out all the life-supporting, the plug. She saw the guy in the bed, said, because he was not getting oxygen, but she thought he was saying hello, and they said, hello. And then she polished the floor. She was a remarkable lady. She often got the award for the best worker in that hospital. Now, when she finished, now she put back her, pull out the polisher's plug, and then she put back the life-supporting plug, and she saw the guy's blue in his face. He's already dead. And she thought, ooh, I'm not a nurse, but he doesn't look good. And in any case, but now the machine first had to get warm, and then he started, beep, and then the nurses rushed there. The patient was dead. She killed in South Africa many of our family members. She was a serial killer. But ladies and gentlemen, a similar thing happened in America. In certain intensive care units, patients died more. They didn't know what caused that. Look at several things, Aircon. Last thing they look at, what sort of nurses worked in that intensive care unit? You know what they found? There were very negative nurses, self-critical nurses, depressed nurses, inferiority complex nurses, and their death rate was 4 times higher than other comparable units. And that led to research in the business world. They put 2 people opposite each other in a train. Very negative guy, less negative guy. You know what they found? Within 2 to 60 minutes, this guy's negativity rubbed off on that person. You could see it in his brain waves, in his heartbeat. Forget about now the people we work with. Us. We're affecting the people around us. 2 to 60 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. You affect someone up to 3 meters away for you. There's now research done at Würzburg University, even on a phone. Can you see why God put the emphasis? Change, my friend, change, my friend. Because if you're positive, if you're good, you have an impact on other people. And did I learn it the hard way? When my little one was a grade 1, he drew a picture of father, mother, hearts between the two of us. And you know what he wrote underneath it? My father is tired. And I thought by myself, I was giving the best to the people that I work with that today. But when I get at home, I sat like a zombie. And be careful, ladies and gentlemen, that us that want to help the world, that we don't look after ourselves, that we teach great things, but we don't live by those things. I finish. Ladies and gentlemen, bring the next thing in your lives. And by the way, go home and teach your wife about this. Good hormones and bad hormones. Huh? By the way, you saw that before, ladies and gentlemen. I know I have brought this. I must first show you that. So it's not 5 minutes. It's no 7 minutes now. Yeah. Look at how mood has an impact on people, ladies and gentlemen. David, a little bit louder. Don't worry. Don't worry. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't. That works with the mirror neurons on your brain. Have you noticed that if you walk in a passage and you smile, the other person automatically smiles? My grandchild doesn't want to eat. And so my daughter-in-law was sitting here with a teaspoon and she said, open your garage, open the garage. There's a car coming, open the garage. And the little one was doing this, and my wife and I were sitting there also. Can you see? That's the impact on other people. Ladies and gentlemen, last thing. I'm gonna skip this. Bring humor back in your lives, ladies and gentlemen. What is so incredible of you this morning is that you can laugh. Isn't it wonderful for any speaker to stand in front of an audience where people can laugh? But I want to say something quickly. Ladies, would you just check all the men that are here today? Huh? Look at all the men. We all smile. We look like Colgate advertisements. Huh? Look at the men. Look at the men. Look how friendly we are with you, ladies. Huh? And do you realize, ladies, if it weren't for you and all your sisters, we guys would have been still in paradise. Yeah. I can't understand that ladies nowadays always on a diet. And when you should have been on diet in paradise, you ate us out of paradise. Yeah. I don't think that's a joke. It is bad. Ladies and gentlemen, how often do you drive? I came this morning. I left where I live. It's not that far from here. 6 o'clock, just after 6. And it took me almost 2 hours. But it doesn't have to become angry. How often does it that you sit in a traffic jam and now you become stressed? Huh? Now you get the ulcer. Do you think ulcers change traffic jams? No, ladies and gentlemen. You know, many years ago, I must tell you a very crude story, but a minister, a pastor told me a story, so I must tell you a story quickly. But many years ago, and then I'm finished. Many years ago, I had to do a course in the center of Johannesburg. I lived there for 20 years. But I was very happy there. And I had to do a course in the center of Johannesburg, and when I got onto one of the ontdekkers, is a big road, there was a traffic jam, and one thing I hate is being late. So I sat there, stress. I thought, what will I do? But I took my Gauteng earring, and I phoned Esposito, was the GM of the hotel. I said, Espo, I'm going to be late, but I sat there stressed. But I thought, Van Jaarsveld, you always say to people, when you're stressed, you must smile. So I said, but there was a lady next to me in a Uno. You know, we don't know if you know Uno, but it's like a cherry in Indian cherry, very small car. In any case, so there was this lady next to me, but she was well built. A little bit of a crude story, but the pastor told me the story, so I'm going to tell you as well. The pastor told me the story of these two old guys in the 90s sitting at the old age home. Now the one said to the other one, I want to get married, but I want one that can still do this. And I want one with this. And I want one with this. But his friend was also in his 90s. He said, I can understand you want one that can still run. I can understand you want one with money. But what I can't understand, why do you want one with arthritis? So this lady got a lot of arthritis. He couldn't sit behind the steering wheel because of arthritis. He was sitting alongside. But now she was watching me. We're in a traffic jam and I'm smiling. So I became totally crazy. I started laughing. Now she's really, this thing is crazy. She tried to move in behind the steering wheel, but the steering wheel was totally off balance. The car was off balance. I was doing this. Later I said to my lips, open your window. Now she's devastated. If the window is open, this thing can jump out. But later she opened the window, started to say, what do you want? I say, think about it. If it weren't for this traffic jam, we would never meet each other. Ooh, I want to meet her as well. But later she saw the humor in the story. She said, what sort of job are you doing? I said, I'm a psychologist. I said, ooh, I'm so glad to meet you. I have a son with so many problems. Let's talk about him. So for 45 minutes, we discuss our son's problems. Why do we become stressed, ladies and gentlemen? About things that you don't have control over. You know that people that that are depressed often drink Prozac tablets. And a very important ingredient of Prozac is serotonin. You know how wonderfully God created you. The moment that you smile, your body secretes your own serotonin. So remember that. Because there's a contraction of these muscles, lower blood flow to this, temperature blood comes down, temperature brainstem comes. So when you go back, buy yourself a small stick in South Africa and you put it in your mouth. And when you get off the plane and then you see your wife, you say, ooh, says, what is happening with you? So I'm happy because when I sit like that, I have good hormones, good hormones, good hormones. Teach you right about that. Can I summarize, ladies and gentlemen? Created by God to be winners, programmed to become losers. Ladies and gentlemen, convey this message that we were created with 100 billion laptops. That's why every morning you have to say to your wife, get out of the way. There are 100 billion laptops on his way. You have to do that because immediately you have good hormones. So, how do you get rid of that 70% negativity? Go, neuroplasticity, Bible, Romans 12:2, go and drop your 5 to 10 positive statements, ladies and gentlemen. Say to yourself, convey this. Do that, also the fathers, they do that with their children. Why? Because if you're positive, mind and body are inseparable. 5 in this negativity, 6 hour effect on your body. Why else? Why the emphasis in Philippians 4 verse 8 on change your mindset positive to positivity? Because your mood affects other people. And the 4th thing, bring humor back in your lives. Ladies and gentlemen, now there was a lady that she drank a lot. She was really a drunkard. Name was Maria. And she came, she was converted. And the pastor baptized her. He said, listen, Maria is the drunkard. But I baptize you now to Miriam. Miriam doesn't drink. Do you understand? Yeah, pastor. Yeah, I understand. Miriam drinks a lot. Maria drinks a lot. Miriam doesn't drink. No, I understand. Now she went home. She opened her fridge. And she looked at the bottle of wine. She said, your name is wine. But I baptize you now to Coke. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't change, then these small things not going to help you at all. So remember these things. Cassie, thank you so much that I might be a part of that. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Okay, watch this, Peter. Watch this. Let's see if your talk worked well or not. Okay, watch this. Don't smile. Can you see?
I
They
see.
don't hear the word don't.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
So it worked.
Yeah,
It worked. It worked really well.